Hey guys, welcome back to the Build and Boost YouTube channel. Today we're going to go through a bit more of the processes and whatnot of building a 4-inch exhaust for my ute. So I've got the dump pipe made right up down to basically the bottom of the firewall. So I'm just going to whack a V-band in there and continue at 4-inch right to the diff. So I'll show you what's involved in it, and if I can, I'll try and get me camera into the welding helmet and see if you can watch me weld it up as well. Too easy. So as you can see, it's got a V-band right there on the bottom of the dump pipe. Just going to continue that down. Come through here, up and around, just underneath the tail shaft. All the way to the diff, and then I'll split it into twin 3-inch from there, just so I can have the twin exit out the back of the ute like normal. I would like to do something a bit different and have a center exit or something like that maybe, but it's just a bit too much work at the moment, so we'll just leave it fairly factory sort of setup and we'll see how that goes. Should flow pretty good. Right, I just got some 4-inch stainless tube here. Pretty simple way of cutting it. I just use 1mm disc to cut it, and I use a sanding with a flat backing pad just to sand it. I just hold that on the end of it, gets them nice and flat. Double check that it's square. Once I do that and I'm happy with a nice square end on it, I usually get my verniers and set it to the length that I need, and just scratch a line right around it. Here you can see I've noticed there's a few dents in the pipe, so I've circled them so I don't end up using it in a piece where I don't want it basically. I should be able to get out of just catching the edge of this one, so it shouldn't be too bad. We'll see how we go. Don't know if you can see it, but I just keep sanding until all the high spots have come off. You can see there's a low spot just there. Can get the camera to focus on it. I can't get it to focus. Anyway, there's a low spot just there for 5mm, so I'll just give it another quick little sand. You can see that edge is that's where that slight dent was. I'll just tap that out before I go to use it. Once we've sanded it flat, that's nice and true, I just use one of these little deburrers for a quick go around, deburr it, and she's ready to tack together. There you go, we can just see we're just trial fitting it in there, a couple of pieces, just got the V-band sitting up there. We got good 10mm clearance on the top there. I don't want to hang it down too low because it'll be the lowest point of the car, so pretty happy with the length on the straight piece there, so I'll go ahead and tack them together and we'll fit it up. I'll just quickly go through the TIG machine and show you a couple of settings and that what I use, a bit of the hardware with the TIG torch and whatnot. Might just point you in the right direction if you're wanting to follow along and build your own at home, so I'll go through it with you. Right, I'm using a Everlast power tube 210 EXT. I've got one this size just because I want to be able to weld up to like 6-8mm thick aluminium relatively easy. This should be enough to do what I need for most things. I think from memory it cost about $3 maybe, give or take. I can't quite remember, but it's been an awesome unit. I'm loving it. Used it on quite a few things lately, some titanium and stainless, mild steel, aluminium. So it's worked pretty good for everything. What I'm using at the moment just to tack. I'm just going to fuse tack everything together for two reasons. One, because it's easier and you don't have to have three hands to hold everything in the torch and add filler. And two, because it gives it a very low profile tack, so when I go to weld over it, fingers crossed, I shouldn't be able to tell where any of my tacks are. So it helps keep it nice and uniform welds. Still learning, always learning, so we're only going to get better. But we'll hopefully see that on the channel and we'll get there together. At the moment, the welding amps are on 40, so I cranked that up to, actually I'm going to go to a preset setting that I've got, which is 60 amps, just straight current, no pulsing. So generally when I'm tacking I just go straight amp so I can burn it in for as long as I need to and get them to fuse together, and then when I go to weld it up I'll flick it over to pulse. Down slope, I generally run a pretty low down slope. It's mainly just because I'm using a trigger, and I use that to manually pulse. I find with aluminium I manually pulse quite a fair bit. Can use foot pedal. I originally learnt how to TIG weld with foot pedal, but in the last 15 years I don't think I've used one, so I'm always working on stuff that's underneath cars or inside cars or whatnot, so it's not really practical. And yeah, maybe if you're at a bench, if I was at a bench welding up everything, I'd probably get into using a foot pedal to help control welding from start to finish. But as for now, I'm happy with just the trigger. I'm just using a WP9 flex head at the moment, so this is a smaller torch out of the two. I've got a bigger one there, I think it's 23, I think it is. Just your air-cooled torches. This one's only good for about 100 amps, I think. It starts getting very hot to hang on to anything over that, so yeah, I'm just using I forget where I got these. I think I might have got them from Aussie Welding Supplies. Give them guys a shout out and tell them I sent you, I guess. Yeah, it's a Jazzy 10 cup. I use that for tacking just so I can sort of get in and see where I'm tacking. It's just a diffuser for a larger gas lens. I'm using 1.6 filler tungsten. It's lanthanated I'm using. I've only really been trying them out lately, but they seem to be going pretty good. Usually I'd have a lot sharper tip on that, but just for tacking I'm not too worried about it. I'll sharpen that up so it's a nice crisp point when I start welding. And I generally try and keep this short as I can, just so it's easy to get inside pipes and stuff. So like if I'm welding on a V-band flange, I'll actually tack on the inside and fuse the pipe to the inside of the flange in a couple of spots once I definitely know it's going to be on there for good. Obviously it's a lot harder to clean up or cut the tacks if you need to cut it off, but make sure if you're going to do it that way that it's going to stay on there. I think with this cup I'll probably run about, I've been running about 10 litres a minute. Obviously it depends on what your workshop and stuff's like. I'm welding in my garage with the door open, so it's got a fairly decent breeze, so I may have to turn that up. But tacking, I think it'll be fine. When I go to weld, I'll put a BBW larger cup on there. I'll show you it before I start welding, but it's probably about that big. And I'll crank the gas up to 15 or 20 litres a minute, just to give that nice gas coverage and get those colours in the stainless. And yeah, that's about it really. We'll see how we go. Alright guys, bear with me, I never had the pig and record at the same time holding it, so let's see how it goes. As you can see, it fuses straight together, pretty easy. I'll just do that another 2 times and then we'll take it to the flange. Another little trick to cutting nice even cuts around your pipe. Obviously square your end up first, measure your distance out, and then I use a hose clamp, tighten it on there, and then just get your measurements, a couple of positions around the pipe, make sure it's square, trace around it with a Sharpie. Where it's thicker there, I just trace as much as you can around it, spin it around, line it back up with your line, trace that last little bit in there. That gives you a fairly good guide where to cut. So you can just cut it with a 1mm disc and then chew it up with a sander again. Be much easier with a bandsaw or cut-off saw, but just make do with what you got at home and you can do all this just as good. Alright guys, I can't really show you tacking these in, but you can see the 4-inch tube comes down. I've sort of kicked it up. Didn't really need to kick it up, but I just wanted to give it all the ground clearance it possibly could be wherever I could, so I've gone up right along there. It starts hanging down a little bit towards the back, so I'm going to notch it just in there, and I'll put a little piece of a bend in there just to kick it back up again, and then we can work on the 2-into-1 section, or 1-into-2 section I suppose you call it. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that right now. Right now we've got some 4-inch to 3-inch reducers. My plans are I'm just going to tack those onto the end of there, that one onto the end of there, and then I'll probably fully weld those up, and then I will, once they're fully welded, I'll work out roughly the angle that I want them to be, and I'll slice down the middle on both of them, so then when I put them together it'll be just a nice transition, probably, I don't know, 30 degrees apart I guess. Then I'll reduce down. I think that should look pretty nice. And then obviously if I don't need to bend them out straight away or whichever way, then I'll end up putting the 15 degrees each back on them so that the twin 3-inch follow each other out. But we'll see how far away from the diff and what clearances and stuff I've got before I need to worry about that. Alright guys, I skipped ahead a little bit. As you can see, we've got the 90 degree chopped in half into 245s, tack the reducers on there and then cut them down the middle. Camera makes it look like it's on the piss. There we go, it's pretty good. Yeah, I just welded it up now before I tack it on, just to make it a lot easier to position and get the welds and stuff on there. Pretty happy with it. Getting there with it. That was on about 75 amps pulsed. Run about 15 litres per minute through BBW cup. You can get those from Aussie Welding Supplies on Facebook. Hit them up. Yeah, it's pretty good. We'll go ahead and tack this onto the straight bit of pipe at the back. You can see it's pretty good. It's probably about 1/2 mil under in diameter on the width. It's pretty good front to back, but I'm pretty happy with that. Should flow nice. Single 4 into twin 3-inch. Alright, we got it all tucked together. All sitting in there ready to be welded up. Going pretty good. It's not, probably hangs down an inch, 30 mil, maybe lower than this. Lower spot, so I'm pretty happy with that. Considering back here, even an X-Force exhaust has about a 30 mil drop brace that goes across there to clear the boxes and stuff, so I think it should be fine. We have another video of welding it all up, but for now that'll be it for this weekend, guys. Alright guys, that's the end of the video for this weekend. Let us know what you think. If you want us to put any more information in any of the videos, I'll try and see how I can go about welding it while you can watch, whether it's just a time lapse or try and get a camera in a helmet or something maybe, so you can actually see the weld pool properly and get some detail on while it's actually welding. Other than that, yeah, hit us up in the comments and let me know what you want to see. If you reckon I could have done something different. I think it's worked out pretty good. I made it more complicated than it needed to be, but I didn't want to just put a big 1.5 meter straight shot pipe up the guts of it and have that the whole lowest point across the entire car. So now there's only a short section there that's maybe 1/2 meter long, just next to the gearbox, which is sort of unavoidable with a 4-inch. But yeah, let us know. Yeah, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the thumbs down. Don't care. But too easy, guys. Catch us later. See you next weekend.